to Bridge the Gap 2020. We are so excited you are here joining us for our second day of our virtual fundraiser. We had an amazing day yesterday. If you didn't have a chance to jump on, be sure to watch the replay, which I believe they are putting in the comments right now on YouTube. So jump on there, and Facebook, you can always go back and watch our post from yesterday. Absolutely incredible day. But today I am so excited that we are focused on education. As an educator, it's of course my favorite day. So Bridge the Gap is our annual fundraiser. Normally we are all together, but right now we are together apart. So thank you for being here. We want to know that you're here, and it helps us when you comment below. So be sure to let us know where you're watching from today, maybe what you loved about yesterday. And every time you see something you love, be sure to thumbs up, heart emoji. Just make sure that we know that you're here. Makes us feel a little bit better. You know, we have had a tough year, 2020, all of us together, and the mission of Bridge of Grace grew even bigger. And so we need your help. So as our annual fundraiser, of course, donating is part of it. So we have made that pretty easy for you. So jump on to our website, which is bridgeofgracecmc.org. Click the Donate Now button, and you can give there. There's also on our main website a tab for Bridge the Gap. You can learn more information about what specific amounts of money can go towards. You can find staff members who are doing fundraising pages. So jump on there and learn a lot about Bridge of Grace and Bridge the Gap. As I said, today is focused on education, and I am so excited to get to sit down and chat with Cindy Reed from Bridge of Grace, Stacy Clark from Levant Scott Academy. Dr. Gia Quinta sat down with me last week, and we had a amazing chat about early education. And then we also are going to get to hear from Ephraim Smiley from City Life, which is an absolutely amazing organization. So join us as we bridge the gap, and we start with a great video from Jean, a volunteer with Bridge of Grace.
It's very fulfilling, and you see that you're making a difference in a child's life, and they are so important for the future. And I like it here at Bridge of Grace because of the Christ aspect. We can be open to talk to them, be free to talk to them, and to pray with them, and just let them know we love them.
I love our volunteers here at Bridge of Grace, and we have two amazing ladies here as we are focused on education. We have Cindy Reed, our program director for education, and we also have Stacy Clark from Levant Scott Academy. Ladies, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
So Cindy, as a Bridge of Grace staff member, you have chosen to be a Bridge of Grace, and most of your career you've been working at nonprofits. So why have you chosen that route, and why Bridge of Grace?
Well, I just love the opportunity to love on people, meet them where they are, and help them along their journey. I can do that here.
Yes, and I've seen that firsthand. You do that well every day, especially that love on people part. So our elementary programs, we have 4 big programs that you're over. Our first one is Kids Under Construction.
Yes. That is our program for first and second graders, and they focus there on reading and Christian character development.
Awesome. And then the next one is hands-on homework.
Yes. 2 days a week, our 3rd through 5th graders come on over, and they work with a tutor one-on-one to do homework and to work on their reading and strengthen any academic skills that they may need strengthening.
I know Stacy and I love that program.
My favorite.
Another one of our favorites is the Wonderfully Made program.
Yes, that is our girls program for girls in 4th through 8th grade, where we want to give them some career exploration and empower them as girls and know what that means.
Yeah, so important and such a great thing. And then the final thing that you work on is the summer camps.
Yes, our summer camps, 3 weeks of fun in the summer. 1 week is a fire department fire camp where they come, the fire department here, and work with the kids one. They stay for the week. The police, the same. They're here supporting the kids, building relationships with the kids. And then we have our third week, which is Bridge Day Camp, and that is run much like a VBS would be for the summer.
Yeah, I love those programs.
Thanks.
I know in every single one of the programs, it's more than just academics that you're working on. You're really focused as volunteers and as staff members on three main things. The first, building relationships.
Yes. We have tutors that work with the children one-on-one every time they're here. They greet them at the door. They build relationships in their talking. How was your day? Exchanging words. So that's a very important relationship. And then we also are developing relationships with Jesus, promoting and encouraging that with the kids on a daily basis.
Awesome. And as the director, I know one of the roles that you take most care in is the embracing the entire family, not just the student that's in the program, but everybody.
Yes.
Tell us what that looks like for you.
I try to make myself available to the parents by phone, when they come into the building to pick up, to listen to what they have to say, to vent, to advise them when they want some advice or find them resources, whatever that might be.
Yeah. I know there's one story that I really like about a way that you were there for the family and found some resources. Can you tell us about that one?
Yes. I think it was last year, actually. We had a family that I learned was homeless, and we did what we could to help them. There are many resources in the community that they were unaware of. We had some resources on hand, and by having that communication with them, being available for our parents, I was able to help them and the family get back on their feet, get where they needed to be to get help.
Yeah, I know if she didn't have that trusted relationship with you, she would never have opened up. So I think that's so important.
That's right.
And another part of the program is to develop relationships and connections with the schools. And
Yes.
That's why Stacy is here. Stacy is a school coordinator for Levant Scott Academy, which is the elementary school across the street.
It is.
And I actually worked there for 5 years with Stacy.
Sure
and
did.
Was so lucky. Stacy is amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Stacy, can you tell us a little bit about the need for Levant Scott's connection?
Sure. Levant Scott's a Title I school. Basically, that means we qualify for federal grant, which allows schools that are 75% or more on poverty level. And unfortunately, our school is probably, as of last year, is over 84% for 2019. So I know it's unfortunately gone up. So our kids need everything. And so that's where we have partnered with Bridge of Grace for the after-school programs, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. I know it's way more than academics for you, right?
For me, it's yes. It's all about relationships, families. I'm gonna get emotional, and the students.
Yeah. And I see those tears. I know that, 2020 has just made it. I'll cry too.
Yeah.
Has made it even more challenging for each one of your staff members, for your children, for the families. So, can you tell us about, you've been an advocate for students, but you've been an advocate for Bridge of Grace specifically. Can you tell us what you think makes Bridge of Grace so special?
I think I know for sure. Yesterday was a perfect example. It was the kickoff for Kids Under Construction, and we had one little girl, and all day long I saw her in the hallway. I'm so excited to go across the street. Not necessarily for ABCs or reading. They're excited to see the volunteers, and they look forward to those adults in their life, and to talk about how was your day, how was your summer, how was the last 6 months, So they're so excited.
We appreciate your continued partnership. We know kids don't come here on their own, and we know you do a lot of behind-the-scenes work to get kids here. So we thank you for that. We thank you for your heart, and Cindy, your heart sharing with the kids. So thank you guys both so much for everything that you do.
You're welcome.
You're
We love
welcome.
it.
Quick crimes, well, quick. We just want to thank them. And next we have a great video of a family who chose to come to Mount Vernon Park and move here and live here. So let's hear more from John.
I'm John Hansen. After that lovely story that my wife told you, a year after that we got married, and then we had this one a little while after that, and we were living out in Seattle, Washington, and she was born out in Seattle. My wife and I moved to Fort Wayne when we found out we were pregnant with our second, Boston. My wife's parents offered free childcare, so we moved to Huntington because you can't pass up free childcare. It's just too good. We lived out there for a year. I was working in Fort Wayne, but when we first moved, we were looking for a church and something that had a lot of diversity, and so I got on Google, and the week after we found Many Nations, we were like, hey, this church sounds like it has a lot of diversity. There's a bilingual service and it's called Many Nations, so the odds are good. Anyway, so we started going to the church, and we loved it here. And then in January, we moved up to the neighborhood, and we love living in the neighborhood and raising our kids in a very diverse area. We're very thankful.
We have so many great people here in Mount Vernon Park and the surrounding areas, and we're so thankful for John telling his story today. You know, we have a big goal here as our annual fundraiser for Bridge the Gap is $100,000. That was not picked up lightly. That was a specific goal to help us fill our mission. So please join with us. Head over to our website, bridgeofgracecmc.org. Click the Donate Now button, and you can join with us, join in the mission, and learn more also about Bridge of Grace. So next up, we have an incredible guy that I cannot wait for you guys to meet if you haven't already met him, although it feels to me like everybody's met him. He is over City Life 46806, so check out this video about City Life.
Did you know 2/3 of America's adolescents now live in urban areas? That's over 19 million youth who live in America's cities. And Jesus cares about every single one of them. Kids from high-risk and under-resourced communities typically found in urban areas are less likely to meet Jesus through traditional outreach models. Most of these youth face significant challenges, including violence, homelessness, fatherlessness, abuse, neglect, addiction, and many others. In response, Youth for Christ has developed City Life, an effective ministry model that seeks to transform the lives of urban youth and the communities they live in. Trying to reach an entire city can be overwhelming. Focusing on a neighborhood allows us to see transformation take place in a city, one community at a time. City Life does this by establishing clear geographical boundaries where we will focus our investment. City Life believes that when enough individuals are changed, a community can be transformed. Building relationships by helping teens with homework, teaching them how to find and maintain a job, or how to prepare them for college provides context for actively proclaiming and demonstrating the gospel. We call this relational holistic ministry. To a teen entrenched in a series of negative life patterns, a young leader from that neighborhood can show them a different path for their life as he or she follows Jesus. That's what we call Indigenous leaders. City Life strives to empower these young leaders from the neighborhood to stay and invest in their communities and reach their peers for Christ. This is City Life. Will you join us and become part of the solution? Visit us at yfc.net/citylife to learn how.
City Life is an absolutely incredible program, and it's all over the place, but we're so lucky to have it right here at Bridge of Grace as well. I'm sitting down with Ephraim Smiley, the director of the 46806 program here, City Life. Ephraim, City Life is not new to Fort Wayne. It's been in the 07 now, is that right? Mm-hmm. Over by Southside. And but you guys have chosen to be here at Bridge of Grace. Tell us a little bit about who you serve here at this program.
So here at this program, we serve ages, grades 5 through 8. And we're so blessed to have the collaboration between LaVon Scott. You just heard from Stacy Clark, and she was very instrumental in bringing students over that we could serve. And we're also looking into Miami Middle School, Lane, and other surrounding middle schools that have students in this area.
Yeah, so before you came, there was not an intentional program as much with the middle school crowd. So I know after they left, hands-on homework, it was kind of, we don't know what to do. So you started here and there was a few kids here.
Right. So as you stated, a lot of the students that aged out of hands-on homework didn't have anywhere to go. And so when we met with Javier, we decided that it would be a perfect match because City Life hadn't really served the middle school age group yet, and that was something that Bridge of Grace was looking to do. So it was a perfect match, and ever since then, things have been running beautifully.
That's awesome. About how many kids do you typically serve?
Well, just this year, we have served over 28 kids within 3 weeks of being open. So that's like a 520% increase over the years that we've been here.
Yeah, I think that shows, especially now more than ever, how much relationships are mattering to kids, that they're seeking it out.
Absolutely. The first step, I think, in any type of ministry is to build rapport and build trust.
Yeah.
And over the last 3 years, that's exactly what we've been able to do. And we just so happen to have students that come back every year, and their parents are always supportive and just instrumental in keeping the ministry going. Because if you have the parent support, then the students will fall in line, and it's just great to see the evolution of our ministry.
Yeah. The partnership between Bridge of Grace and City Life is, I think, an incredible one to make sure that it's beneficial for both sides, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that you grew up here in the 46806 zip code, and you're very aware of the challenges that you faced and that many of the students here are facing. Can you tell me a little bit more about how the challenges you faced and your experiences have led you here?
Yes. So growing up on Hannah and Drexel, I witnessed a lot of different occurrences that I don't think young people should have to see. And a lot of times I asked God why as I was going through those things. And by the grace of God and great parents and people in the community, elders that looked out for me, mentors, coaches, and so forth, I was able to kind of circumvent some of the pitfalls that some of my peers didn't fare so well at getting around. And I was able to go to Taylor University in Upland, Indiana. Once I got to Taylor, I knew at that point that I needed to come back and give back and make sure that young people growing up in the same area that I grew up in had another role model to look up to and somebody that was going to reach back and help them overcome the same circumstances that I had to overcome.
Yeah, I think that is what helps you build those relationships in such an authentic way. You know, I've heard since coming on staff here all about coach. You know, everybody's talking about you all the time, but I think it's how real you are with the kids. And so many times we want a quick fix, but we just don't get it. I know you have a story that you told me that's both gut-wrenching and exciting, but can you share a little bit about how the time that you take to build relationships is life-changing and even generational changing?
Yes. So there was a young man whose mom was so used to him getting in trouble that she didn't know what else to do, who to call to get him the help that he needed. And somebody gave this young man, somebody gave her our number, and she brought him. And I said, look, it's going to take some time, but I feel like I believe that we can make a difference through the grace of God, you know, through God's word, prayer, and, you know, each person on our staff, you know, showing him love, that eventually he would experience a turnaround. A couple weeks went by. I got a phone call in the morning that said he had got kicked out of school. And I was like, it's only been a couple weeks and he's been in this predicament for a little while. He's had this, you know, he's had this habit of getting in trouble for a while, so it's going to take a little bit longer to break through what he's been used to. And so every day, our staff would, you know, high energy, hi, how you doing, how was school? And it was just remarkable to see a young man that said he never smiles break down and smile when we took a picture, which might not mean much to some people, but as you alluded to, growing up in the area I grew up in, I know the facade that we have to wear as men, that we're strong, we're street cred. Anything to protect street cred is what's going to happen. So to see him smile and break free of what society might say he's supposed to do, or his circumstances say he might supposed to do, was unbelievable. And he ended up making an honor roll and then making his football team at Lane Middle School. So to be able to go see that game, remembering the times where he came in straight-faced, looking down, despondent, feeling as though he wasn't capable of doing right, and now he's making the honor roll and playing for the football team and leading the team in tackles on that day. So it's just glory to God that he can use somebody as small as us to make a difference in somebody else's life.
And that's just one person, one story. But at the beginning, I said generational change. And if you think about it, that's changing the mom's life. That's changing siblings' lives. And you said when we first talked how that, he has a hope now that he can have a wife and kids and a job, and that, that's community and change as well. So thank you so much for what you're doing and the passion for which you do it and how you share. We just so appreciate it. So thank you, Ephraim.
Thank you.
Next, we have a video that I think can show how, what Ephraim and Cindy and Stacy are dealing with is often they're having to be reactive. But Dr. Gia Quinta from Parkview is going to tell us about how we can be proactive by starting early.
My role as a pediatrician is to take care of, I have about 3,000 brains that I am cultivating every day throughout their lifespan. And basically that means I also have 3,000 possibilities. I have 3,000 opportunities. I have 3 opportunities for those children to really be great, to make their mark on our community, to make our community better than it is even for us. And for me, that is just such an amazing role. It is such an amazing privilege that I have. And I'm just so honored that these parents trust me to help them take care of their children. And it's a really great honor. It's motivating for me. But most important, I know that every day I can take my fingerprint and put it on a child and see that child develop into something great. And there is no greater privilege in the world. I think that brain development is probably one of the most important things that I can talk about and motivate during one of my pediatric appointments. Every day, your child is seeing, hearing, feeling something new. And every time they do that, a new connection is formed. These connections are basically these little wires that go from one brain cell to another brain cell, and it explodes during the first year of life. Every time you do something fun with your child, that you're on the floor with your child, that you're flipping through a book with your child is absorbing something new and a new connection forms. Are these connections good or are they bad? Well, we don't really know, and it doesn't matter for children because they're just forming connections, and that is brain growth. But what happens that is most important over those next few years of life, until they're about 5 years of age, is that those connections might get strengthened. Okay, are these good connections? Well, it may be. Maybe it is a lesson about sharing that we positively encourage and express and give a big, oh my gosh, that was so wonderful what you did. Or maybe it's a tantrum that we don't want to strengthen, that we want to ignore because we know by giving attention to that tantrum is going to get bigger and stronger the next time. But it all depends on that child's experience. And we need to give those children as much experience as they can. And that is my role as a pediatrician, to make sure that we are emphasizing those experiences. And so for every time they come into a pediatric appointment, we are going to talk about what we can do to grow that brain, to strengthen those developmental milestones, and to weaken or get rid of some of those acts of poor behavior or maladaptive responses that we don't want. We call that pruning. And my job is to prune that brain, and the parent's job is to prune that brain so that it grows into something wonderful. When a child does not have that opportunity for early pre-kindergarten and early brain development, it basically deprives the child of two opportunities. The first is it deprives that child of the ability to continue to grow, to continue to learn new skills, and to strengthen those wonderful connections that we know are adaptive and are going to help that child succeed. But the second one is also important. The second opportunity missed is the ability to rescue a child. What we know from years of brain science is that the first 5 years of brain development are critical. We know that in the first 5 years, that brain is going to grow and grow and grow, but importantly, it is plastic. The word plastic for us means something that is flexible, okay? It can be changed, it can be adaptive. So even though children have different experiences growing up, and some might get a little bit of a head start because their parents are just honestly able to have more time with their children, because their children are a little bit more skilled or have experienced themselves that they know the importance of bonding and playing and working on that child's brain. We know that not all children are going to get that same opportunity. But what if every child had the opportunity to have early childhood school and learning and development? If we do that, then we're talking about expanding our safety net to giving those children that might not have had the same opportunities as a young child, where you might be able to rescue that brain and get it caught up so that when it's ready for kindergarten, that child can still have the opportunity to succeed and reach their full potential. For me as a pediatrician, it is actually really easy for me to pick out the children that have lots of brain development opportunities, such as early pre-K, or a parent that is really good at bonding and understanding how important it is to grow that brain, and a child that might be more vulnerable, a child that might not have the same bonding experiences with their parent, a child that might not have those early pre-K opportunities as well. And these are the things that I hear from parents and teachers. My child is unable to control their emotions. My child on a whim breaks down into tears every time stress presents itself. My child, when they get mad, they throw desks, they throw chairs. What is going on in that child's brain that is causing them to do that? We talked earlier about why those early experiences are important for cognitive advanced milestones in development. But what I didn't mention is that those bonding experiences and those experiences of having a stable, nurturing environment are also important for their emotional regulation as well. And so what I oftentimes see is that these children, they don't have ADHD, they don't have conduct disorder, they don't need a medication. What they need is people to be more trauma-informed so that we understand that these children were not given the same opportunities to grow those strong connections that teach emotional stability, that teach emotional regulation, that teach attention and impulsivity control. And the problem is that if we're not addressing those traumas, those toxic stresses, those adverse childhood experiences, then we're really missing the big picture on why these children are struggling. But what early pre-K is most important for sometimes is offering that secure relationship that we know is going to be important for their emotional as well as their psychosocial development. We still know that brain plasticity isn't just cognitive function, but it's also emotional and behavioral function as well. And so that we can help these children learn how to regulate their impulses and their attention. And we can teach those children how to deal with their anger and emotions. And most importantly, we can provide a secure, safe place that is going to help them with their toxic stresses so that they can learn to adapt and feel comfortable in a learning environment. All of this has a finite window. We have to do this before they go into kindergarten, because by kindergarten, those neuronal connections that might be geared towards impulsivity, that might be geared towards anger, those suckers are going to be hardwired, and they are going to be much, much harder to fix, but not impossible, just much harder to fix. As a Parkview pediatrician, I am given the most amazing opportunity. I am given the opportunity to take care of children no matter what payer system or insurance they have. All children are welcome into my clinic, no matter what race, religion, income level. And for me, that basically means that all children are equal in my clinic and they all deserve the same head start. What's important about that is that I see a very vulnerable set of children. These are children that grow up, honestly, with more poverty, more adverse childhood experiences, and because of that, more toxic stresses. We talked about how toxic stress is extremely deleterious for that child's development. It impacts them cognitively, it impacts them social emotionally, and it certainly also impacts them from a medical physiologic standpoint as well. And unfortunately, we know that in our community, 1 in 5 children do live in poverty and all of those toxic stresses that are going to delay or at least put their development at extreme risk. It is our job as a community to rescue those brains. We think about safety nets as income safety nets and food safety nets, and these are all extremely important. But what if we think about a safety net like brain development? What if we think of it as rescuing every child's brain in our community? What would the impact of that be? If every brain started kindergarten on the same level, with the same secure emotional attachments, with the same connections that recognize the importance of emotional regulation, of following rules and sharing, and certainly there's lots of areas of gray, but what if they all had that foundation? We would be setting up our community for success for years and years to come. The return on investment for this safety net would be monumental. I know that this is possible, and I know specifically that if we focus on some of our more vulnerable children, our children that are higher at risk for poverty and toxic stresses, whose parents are working so hard every day but don't have access to early pre-K, and they have to decide between going to work and taking care of their child. But what if that wasn't a decision they had to make, and instead they had easy, complete access to high quality pre-K? They could focus on work, they could go home knowing that their child was taken care of, that that brain was growing, and they could change their stresses, their ability to bond and love and grow their children without having to be worried about just basic survival instincts. This is what we call reversing generations of poverty. This is what we call reversing generations of brain development, which might not have been geared towards maximizing the potential. And we have an amazing opportunity to do that. There's a saying that I really believe in, and it goes like this: a community that plants seeds knowing whose shade they will never get to enjoy is a community that understands empathy, that understands compassion, that understands that children are our greatest resource and our greatest opportunity for lifting the community up together. This is exactly what we are doing when we are advancing early brain development, when we are understanding the safety net that rescuing children under the auspices of brain development and early pre-K is going to result in a community that is going to thrive.
We are so thankful to Dr. Giaquinta for sharing his knowledge and expertise with us, and also his passion. Isn't he an incredible speaker? I just could listen to him all day long. So Dr. Giaquinta talked about the importance of early education and starting early. So one of the first programs that Bridge of Grace had was in education, starting at first grade. And so I'm sitting here today talking to Javier Mondragon, the CEO and founder of Bridge of Grace. And so will you tell us a little bit about how Bridge of Grace started with education, and then where we are moving towards today.
Yeah, so Dr. Giaquinta is amazing. Basically, he brings all of the science, right, behind all the education and the importance of early education. Yes, I remember going to my, one of my mentors when we first started Bridge of Grace. As I mentioned yesterday, I feel like education is key to break the cycle of poverty. So I said this is going to be our focus, education. One of the things that gets me more excited about, and so when I went and talked to this guy that has a nonprofit, and he's been an executive director for this nonprofit for more than 30 years, and so had all the experience. I went and shared with him. I was so excited to share with him my vision. I said, so I have a great vision for you. I want to have kids from first grade to 12th grade after school programs to make sure that we are with them, we take care of them all the way through high school. And then after high school, then we can send them to college, and then they'll be successful for the rest of their life. And so I thought, my vision is big. He's going to be impressed. He's going to say, man, Javier, I'm going to be for you. He just laughed and basically just smiled after I said my vision, and he said, Javier, that is so cute. That's what he said. He said, it's so cute. He said, I used to think like you. He said, but then I went to this conference and I heard this doctor. I don't know if it was Dr. Giaquinta or somebody else, but he said, I heard this doctor and I heard him speak about brain development and the importance of when the baby is born, even before the baby is born, when the woman is pregnant, and the importance of the nutrition and the importance when the baby is born, and that the first 2 years that Dr. Giaquinta talked about, how important it is that the emotional attachment, all of this, the women or mothers reading to the kid, and just this development that happens in early life. And so he said, so I used to think like you, first to 12th grade, but then you really need to, if we want to be effective, we need to go back and to the early in life. And so, then my vision said, oh, okay, well, it's not big enough, right? And so what we are, this is one of the initiatives that it gets me more excited about, right? Is until now, we've been reactive, right? We started these programs to help kids to get caught up with their reading or their homework and all of that. But now, for us to be able to go back and start early, right before they start. Now we're not just reacting, we are preventing for them to even become far, not be in the right place.
So you went to the board and decided that early education was going to be a focus,
right?
And you hired me
Exactly.
to come in and help.
Exactly. So it's so important for me. I think, as I know you for years, and your passion, right? The passion that you have for education, and I'm so glad that you accepted to come and
lead for a few years.
and lead this, because I feel like it's not just knowing the education that is important, but also having the passion for inner city. And yes, so we are planning to move in this direction to build a center, early childhood center in the future, and that's what we're going to do.
So I was always reluctant. I think almost from the moment I met you, you kind of put the seed in my head. And I was an inner city teacher for 15 years. First in Oklahoma City at Main and First, real rough area. And then moved here. And actually, Bridge of Grace was the first place I volunteered in town and painted Levon Scott across the street with you guys, and got to meet Sarah Zuber, who at the time was the instructional coach. Built a relationship with her, ended up teaching there, and actually became the instructional coach toward the end of those years, and fell in love with the community. This is Mount Vernon Park, and the area around in Levon Scott is absolutely incredible, but God was working behind the scenes, and he knew that, I've always taught mainly in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and I definitely didn't think I had any the skill, I guess it took for early education. So that's one reason I was pretty reluctant, but he knew what I needed and he put me in the right spots. And the more I found out about the research Dr. Giaquinta was talking about, the more I realized that as a teacher, I can sit down and very specifically look at children, spend just a few minutes with them, even in 3rd and 5th grade, and I can tell who's had early education and who hasn't, who's had a loving, safe home life early on and who didn't. And as you said, I was so reactive. And Levon Scott is an incredible school filled with amazing teachers. But it's really at a crossroads right now. They're struggling. Every time I talk to those teachers, even before COVID, it was really tough. And I think there's more and more ACEs and adverse childhood experiences that Dr. Giaquinta was talking about that we constantly have to face as teachers, and just struggles that being reactive is never going to get the job done, no matter if you have the best teachers in the world. And so I think what I'm so excited about with this initiative is that we get to come alongside families, home child care providers, and eventually our own child care center, and really change the face of the Southeast side and what it looks like for children 0 to 5, families 0 to 5, and as you talk about a lot, really ending the generational poverty.
It's key. I think it's key. Like I said, it's one of the things that's the reason why I'm most excited about this initiative, because you know better, but they say that kids learn to read by 3rd grade, and then after that they have to read to learn, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's if they don't get to learn how to read by 3rd grade, they will be lost for the rest of their academics and their education. And then another part of that, I thought about early childhood education, the importance of just working with families, working with the parents, working with the children, and helping them to get ahead or get to the right when they start school, they're ready and prepared. Mm-hmm. But there, Dr. Giaquinta touch on the benefit of economic development, right? Yes. And it's amazing. So that's a plus, right? To be able to see that kids who do early childhood education get ahead and they actually have more success. The numbers are there that they will go and graduate from college, and the earnings of how much they make is big difference.
Yeah, there's actually studies that follow students from the 70s who had early education, and they see them now as adults, and they far outweigh their peers who did not have. So it's important. And I'm so excited to be a part of the mission and the staff here at Bridge of Grace.
Well, I'm excited you're here with us, and I'm excited for this, and we're going to talk more about it in the future.
So be looking for that.
Yes.
But today, we just want to thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening to our heart as an organization, and to experts like Dr. Giaquinta, who have so much to offer our community. So it's not too late. You can jump on and join us. Our goal is $100,000. When last I heard, we were about 10% of the way there. So we really need your help. We need you to come alongside. So go to our website, bridgeofgracecmc.org. Click that Donate Now button and head over there. As always, if you have any questions or anything, chat with us in the comments, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. We're going to take the daytime off, and we are going to be live at 7 p.m. for an amazing night. I am so excited. It's 2020. We need this more than ever. It's going to be a time of prayer and worship. We have Casual Friday coming, and they're going to be doing some amazing worship songs for us. We have some great community leaders like Mike Packnett, might be a little biased on that one, and we have other people who are going to be praying for Bridge of Grace, the Southeast side. So join with us to pray, to worship, to celebrate what God has done and what God is continuing to do. So thank you again, and we hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day.